The hum of the engines quieted to a gentle whisper as Zara's sleek spacecraft touched down on the soft earth of Wyoming's sprawling plains. She stepped out into the cool night air, her eyes scanning the vast horizon dotted with distant lights. Her mission was one of healing and discovery, Earth's cultures and emotions promising a refuge from her past sorrows. Nearby, the silhouette of a man leaned against a pickup truck, his gaze fixed on the strange craft as it landed. His name was Jake, a local rancher, whose curiosity about the night sky often brought him out to these open fields. The sight before him was something he had only dreamed about. As Zara approached, Jake straightened up, unsure of the visitor but guided by his inherent kindness. "Evening," he called out cautiously. "Looks like you've come a long way. Need any help?" Zara smiled slightly, reassured by the man's open demeanor. "Yes, I suppose it does appear so," she replied, her voice carrying a soft, melodic accent. "I am Zara, from Viridia. I'm here to learn. And perhaps to find some peace." Jake extended his hand, a gesture of earthly goodwill. "Jake. And peace is something you can find plenty of around here. What brings you to Wyoming, of all places?" Walking towards the truck, Zara's gaze lingered on the endless sky. "My world is very different from yours. After losing my mate, my people explore the stars to heal. Your planet." It resonated with me. Jake nodded, understanding the language of loss all too well. "Well, Zara, around here we do our best healing under the open sky, or sometimes, with a bit of hard work. How about I show you around? There's a lot to see, and it might do you good." "Thank you, Jake. I would appreciate that," Zara responded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. They climbed into Jake's truck, the engine rumbling to life. As they drove, Jake pointed out the ranch lands stretching under the moonlight. "These are the McCoy lands. Been in my family for generations. It's quiet, but it's home." "Home," Zara repeated softly, the concept feeling both foreign and inviting. "On Viridia, home is about community, about sharing life. What's it like, living out here?" "It's peaceful, mostly. You get up with the sun, work the land, and sometimes, on nights like this, you look up and wonder about the rest of the universe," Jake explained, his voice mixed with awe and a hint of loneliness. "Do you always watch the stars, Jake?" Zara asked, her curiosity piqued by his reflective tone. "Almost every night," Jake admitted. "Makes my problems seem smaller, you know?" Zara nodded. "Yes, the stars have that effect. They remind us of our place in the cosmos, small yet connected by the fabric of the universe." The truck slowed as they approached a cozy farmhouse, lights twinkling warmly through the windows. "Here we are. Home sweet home. How about a drink? It might be not what you're used to, but I reckon it's good by Earth standards." "That sounds lovely," Zara said, a genuine smile crossing her features for the first time since her arrival. As they entered the house, Jake introduced Zara to his world, the warmth of a wood fire, the comfort of home-cooked meals, and the simple joy of human companionship. Each shared story, each exchanged smile was a step toward the healing they both sought, under the watchful eyes of the stars. The following morning, after a hearty breakfast of pancakes and coffee, Jake decided to take Zara into town. The local community was small but vibrant, known for its welcoming spirit and annual festivals. As they drove down the main street, Zara observed the quaint shops and friendly waves from the townspeople. "Everyone seems to know each other," Zara remarked, watching a group of children chasing a dog across the park. "Yep, that's small-town life for you. You'll get used to it. People here are friendly, always ready to lend a hand or share a story," Jake explained as he parked the truck near the town's bustling marketplace. They walked through the rows of local produce, homemade goods, and crafts. At a stall lined with handmade leather goods, they met Tom, a burly man with a gentle smile who was a friend of Jake's. "Jake, who's your friend?" Tom asked, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "This is Zara, she's visiting from." "Well, let's just say she's not from around here," Jake chuckled, giving Zara a playful nudge. "Pleasure to meet you, Zara. Any friend of Jake's is a friend of mine," Tom greeted warmly, shaking her hand. "What do you think of our little town?" "It's very charming, and everyone is incredibly open and warm," Zara replied, returning his smile. "If you like, I can show you how to craft something. Ever made anything with your hands?" Tom offered, picking up a strip of leather. Zara looked intrigued. "I would like that very much. On Viridia, we use synthetics, so this is new to me." Tom spent the next hour teaching Zara the basics of leathercraft, showing her how to cut, stitch, and emboss. Jake watched with a proud smile as Zara quickly picked up the techniques, her dexterity surprising both men. "You're a natural," Tom praised, as Zara finished crafting a small, beautifully stitched pouch. "Thank you, Tom. This has been a wonderful learning experience," Zara said, examining her handiwork. As the afternoon sun began to dip, Jake suggested, "How about we grab some ice cream before we head back? There's a great place just around the corner." "That sounds delightful," Zara agreed, her eyes lighting up at the prospect of trying another earthly treat. They sat at a small outdoor table, enjoying their ice cream and watching the day slowly turn into evening. "You know, I didn't think I'd be showing someone from another world around my hometown," Jake mused. "And I never imagined I would be here, experiencing all of this with someone like you," Zara responded, her tone thoughtful. "It's more than I could have hoped for." "Well, I'm glad you're here. It's nice to have new perspectives on things we take for granted," Jake said. Their conversation deepened, touching on topics of loss, life, and the universe. Zara shared more about Viridia, her eyes reflecting a mix of sorrow and wonder. Jake listened intently, his usual reserved nature giving way to a genuine and deep interest. As the stars began to appear, Jake pointed out constellations, telling stories about each one. Zara listened, fascinated, realizing how much Earth and Viridia shared under the vastness of the sky. "It's beautiful, isn't it? How we can look up and see the same stars, yet from such different worlds," Zara remarked, her voice soft. "Yeah, it is," Jake agreed, looking not just at the stars, but at Zara with new appreciation. "I think you're going to like it here. And who knows? Maybe we'll learn a thing or two from each other." As they drove home, the warmth between them grew, a bond formed not just by shared experiences, but by the understanding that sometimes, the most profound connections come from the most unexpected encounters. After a day filled with new experiences, Jake and Zara headed back to the ranch as the sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Zara seemed more relaxed, her eyes reflecting the colors of the horizon. "Tonight's a special night," Jake mentioned as he turned off the main road onto the gravel path leading to his ranch. "There's a full moon, and it's the perfect time to show you the rest of the ranch. How about a horseback ride?" Zara's face lit up with excitement. "I'd love that, Jake. I've read about Earth's horses, but seeing them up close will be incredible." Jake smiled, pleased with her enthusiasm. They parked and headed to the stable where 2 horses were saddled and ready. "This here is Belle, and I'll be riding Scout. They're gentle creatures," he explained, helping Zara mount her horse with ease. As they trotted along the fence line, the sky deepened to a velvety blue, and the full moon cast a silvery glow over the land. "Your world seems to have a rhythm of its own, a calmness I've not felt before," Zara observed, her voice a whisper against the quiet of the evening. "It does at that," Jake agreed. "Sometimes, when it's just me and the open sky, I feel like I can breathe easier." They rode in comfortable silence, the only sounds were the soft thuds of the horses' hooves on the earth and the distant calls of night creatures. Reaching a hilltop, Jake and Zara dismounted to sit under the vast expanse of stars. "I've been thinking about what you said earlier, about healing and exploration," Jake started, picking a blade of grass and twirling it between his fingers. "What's it like, to leave everything you know behind?" Zara gazed at the moon, her expression thoughtful. "It's both terrifying and exhilarating. My heart aches for what I've lost, yet there's a universe of possibilities that might fill the void." "I get that," Jake nodded. "After my parents passed, this ranch was all I had left of them. Took me a long while to see it as a place to create new memories, not just hold on to old ones." "That's beautifully said, Jake. It seems we're both searching for new memories," Zara replied, a gentle smile curving her lips. They talked for hours, sharing tales of their lives. Zara's vibrant yet strict world contrasted with Jake's grounded, yet sometimes lonely existence. When the conversation turned to more light-hearted topics, Jake taught Zara about the constellations that adorned the Wyoming sky. "See that cluster there? That's Orion, the hunter. And right there, the bright one, that's Sirius, the dog star," he pointed. Zara laughed softly. "We have Orion too, but our stories of the stars differ greatly. It's fascinating how the same stars can hold different meanings across the cosmos. Makes you think, doesn't it? About what else we might share, not just the stars but maybe fears, hopes, dreams," Jake mused, his gaze meeting hers. "Yes, it does. And tonight, under this Earth moon, I feel those shared dreams might just be within reach," Zara responded, her hand lightly touching his. They rode back to the ranch, the moonlight guiding them. As they neared the stables, Jake turned to Zara. "How about tomorrow we go into the mountains? There's a spot I'd like to show you. It's peaceful, kind of magical." "I'd like that, Jake. Thank you for sharing your home with me," Zara said, her eyes reflecting the moonlight and something more, a sense of belonging. As they secured the horses for the night, a shooting star streaked across the sky. "Make a wish," Jake whispered. Zara smiled, looking up. "I already have everything I could wish for right here." Their connection deepened, bound by shared solitude and the silent promises whispered under the night sky, promising more days of discovery and companionship. The morning sun streamed through the windows as Jake and Zara prepared for their day trip to the mountains. Zara, who had quickly adapted to the rhythm of ranch life, helped Jake load supplies into the back of his old, reliable truck. Their easy camaraderie had deepened, filled with light jokes and shared anticipation for the day ahead. "Got everything?" Jake asked, as he tossed a couple of extra blankets into the truck. "Yes, I think so. I'm learning there's quite a bit you need for a day in the mountains," Zara replied with a chuckle, securing a cooler. "It's better to be over-prepared. The weather can change quickly up there," Jake explained, closing the tailgate. "Ready to see some real wilderness?" "More than ready," Zara smiled, climbing into the passenger seat. As they drove, the landscape gradually shifted from rolling plains to rugged hills cloaked in dense forests. Jake pointed out various landmarks and explained the local wildlife, while Zara listened intently, her eyes wide with curiosity. "We're almost there. This place. It's special to me. Used to come here with my dad when I was a kid," Jake shared, his voice tinged with nostalgia as he steered the truck up a narrow winding path. "I appreciate you bringing me here, Jake. It means a lot," Zara said softly, sensing the importance of the place to him. The truck came to a stop at a lookout point overlooking a vast valley. The view was breathtaking, with majestic mountains stretching toward a clear blue sky. They unloaded the truck and set up a spot to sit and enjoy the surroundings. "This is beautiful, Jake. It's so peaceful here," Zara exclaimed, taking in the panoramic views. "Yeah, it's a good spot to think. Or not think at all," Jake laughed, handing Zara a sandwich from the cooler. They ate in comfortable silence, the only sounds were the rustling leaves and distant bird calls. After lunch, Jake suggested a hike to a nearby lake known for its crystal-clear waters. As they walked, their conversation flowed from light-hearted banter to deeper discussions about their dreams and what they hoped the future might hold. "I never thought I'd find someone from another world so relatable," Jake admitted as they reached the lake, its surface shimmering under the sun. "And I never thought I'd feel so at home on another planet," Zara responded, her gaze reflecting the sparkling water. At the lake's edge, Jake rolled up his jeans and waded into the shallow water. "Come on, the water's perfect," he urged with a playful grin. Hesitant at first, Zara soon joined him, laughing as the cool water splashed around their ankles. They spent the afternoon exploring the lake's edge, collecting interesting stones and talking about everything and nothing. As the sun began to set, they made their way back to their picnic spot. Jake pulled out his guitar, a surprise for Zara. "Thought I'd play a bit. Music. It's another way I connect with this place," he said, strumming a few chords. Zara listened, mesmerized by the sound of the guitar blending with the natural symphony around them. Encouraged by her interest, Jake taught her a few chords, their fingers brushing as he adjusted her grip on the guitar neck. "This is fun," Zara laughed, struggling to mimic his movements but enjoying the challenge. "Not bad for a first-timer," Jake complimented, taking the guitar to play a melody he'd written years ago. The music filled the air, a soothing melody that echoed the tranquility of the mountain. As the day faded into evening, they packed up, not wanting to leave but feeling refreshed by their escape. Driving back, Jake glanced at Zara, who was softly humming the tune he'd played. "Glad you liked it. Maybe next time, you can sing along," he suggested, a warm smile on his face. "I'd like that, Jake. I'd like that very much," Zara smiled back, her heart full of new melodies and a budding affection for the man beside her. Their day in the mountains had strengthened their bond, a shared connection rooted in the beauty of Earth's nature and the simple joy of music. As they headed home, the stars began to appear, a reminder of the vast universe that had brought them together, now feeling just a bit smaller. After their day in the mountains, Jake and Zara found themselves drawn even closer, sharing more of their lives and the quiet moments that make them meaningful. Zara, now more comfortable in this new world, expressed a desire to contribute to the ranch. Jake, pleased by her enthusiasm, decided to teach her about horse grooming, an essential and grounding part of ranch life. Early the next morning, they headed to the stables. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of hay and the soft sounds of the horses stirring. "Morning routines are sacred around here," Jake began, grabbing a brush and a hoof pick from the tack room. "Each horse here has its own personality, much like people. Zara laughed softly, watching as a chestnut mare nuzzled Jake's hand. "I'm eager to learn. Back on Viridia, we don't have animals like this. It's fascinating how connected you are with each one. Let's start with Belle. She's gentle and will be good for you to learn on," Jake said, leading Belle out of her stall. He demonstrated how to brush the horse's coat, explaining each step. Zara took the brush, her movements tentative at first, but with Jake's gentle guidance, she became more confident. "You're doing great, Zara," Jake encouraged, his voice warm. "Horses can sense your mood, so it's good to stay calm and assured around them." Zara nodded, her strokes becoming more assured. "It's calming, really. I see why you love it." As they worked, Jake shared stories about each horse, how they came to the ranch, their quirks, and what they liked. Zara listened intently, her eyes alight with curiosity and amusement. "Now, for the hooves," Jake said, handing her the hoof pick. "It's important to check them regularly for rocks or debris that might get caught." He guided her hand the first few times, and then she attempted it on her own. The physical closeness brought a new layer to their budding relationship, each touch and glance loaded with a gentle familiarity. After finishing with Belle, they moved on to Scout, Jake's horse. "Scout here can be a bit stubborn, but he's loyal," Jake explained as he watched Zara interact with the horse. "I think I understand him then," Zara joked, earning a hearty laugh from Jake. With the horses groomed, they walked back to the house for a late breakfast. Jake cooked, his easy familiarity in the kitchen a new side of him that Zara admired. They ate in companionable silence, the comfort between them deepening. Post-breakfast, they sat on the porch with cups of coffee, looking out over the ranch. "This life. It suits you, Zara. You've taken to it more naturally than I expected," Jake remarked, his tone reflective. "I feel a part of something here, Jake. It's more than just learning about horses or how to groom them, it's feeling the heart of this place, its rhythm," Zara replied, her gaze meeting his. "That means a lot, hearing you say that. This ranch. It's been a part of my family for generations. Sharing it with you, it feels right," Jake confessed, the earnestness in his voice making Zara's heart flutter. They spent the rest of the day planning a small renovation for one of the barns. Sketching out ideas, measuring spaces, and even starting some of the work themselves, their teamwork evident in every decision and laugh shared. As the day turned to dusk, they stood back to admire their progress, their bodies dust-covered but spirits high. "We make a good team, Zara," Jake said, his hand brushing hers. "Yes, we do," Zara agreed, her smile bright. "Thank you for this, for all of it." Their day closed with another lesson this time, Jake teaching Zara how to play a simple song on the guitar as the sun set, coloring the sky with hues of pink and gold. The music they made, clumsy but joyful, filled the air around them, a testament to their growing connection. Under the vast, star-filled sky, Jake and Zara found not just solace but a shared purpose, their pasts intertwining with the present to weave a new tapestry of life and hope on the ranch. The days on the ranch grew warmer as summer approached, deepening the bond between Jake and Zara through shared work and moments of laughter. Today, they planned to tackle the boundaries of the ranch, checking and repairing the fence lines that skirted the vast acres of land. It was a job that required patience and resilience, qualities that Zara had come to admire deeply in Jake. As they loaded the truck with tools and supplies early in the morning, Jake briefed Zara on the task ahead. "Fence maintenance is crucial, keeps the livestock safe and secure. It can be a bit monotonous, but it's good thinking time," he explained, securing a heavy toolbox. "I'm ready for it." "It sounds like a perfect way to spend the day outside," Zara replied, her enthusiasm evident in her eager smile. They drove along the rugged dirt paths that crisscrossed the ranch, the truck bouncing slightly with each dip and rise of the terrain. Jake stopped at various points along the fence, each time both of them hopping out to inspect the condition. "So, what are we looking for exactly?" Zara asked as she followed Jake to a stretch of fence. "Breaks, mostly, or any signs of wear that could be a weak point. Here, like this," Jake pointed to a loose post wobbling slightly in the ground. "We'll need to dig around it and set it right again." Zara nodded, grabbing a shovel from the back of the truck. "Let me help with that." Working side by side, they dug out the old post, replaced it with a new one, and packed the soil tightly around it. The physical work was hard, but Zara found it satisfying, especially seeing the immediate results of their efforts. As the sun climbed higher, they took a break under the shade of a large oak tree. Jake pulled out a couple of water bottles and handed one to Zara. "How are you holding up?" he asked, watching her wipe the sweat from her brow. "Honestly, I'm feeling great. There's something deeply fulfilling about this kind of work," Zara replied, taking a long drink. Jake smiled, pleased. I'm glad to hear that. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it out here. They chatted about lighter topics as they rested, the conversation flowing easily. But after a few moments, Jake's tone turned more serious. Zara, I've been meaning to ask you. What do you think about the future? Your time here on Earth? Zara paused, considering her words. I've been thinking a lot about that, actually. This place, these days with you. They've given me a lot to reflect on. I feel at home here, Jake, more than I ever thought possible. Jake looked at her intently, a mix of hope and caution in his eyes. I've felt the same. I wasn't expecting this to happen. But now, I can't really picture the ranch without you. Their gaze held for a long moment, the air charged with unspoken words and potential futures. Let's finish up the fences, Zara finally said, standing and offering Jake a hand up. We can talk more tonight, maybe? Yeah, tonight, Jake agreed, his voice steady but his heart racing with anticipation. They continued their work, fixing broken posts and tightening wire, the rhythm of their tasks a comforting backdrop to their racing thoughts. As they worked, the connection between them grew, each shared task and conversation weaving them closer together. By the end of the day, they had covered a good portion of the ranch. Tired but satisfied, they headed back to the house. After a quiet dinner, they found themselves sitting on the porch, watching the stars emerge one by one. About what we were talking about earlier, Jake began, turning to look at Zara. I meant what I said. I'd like you to stay, Zara, if that's what you want to. Zara took a deep breath, her decision clear in her mind. I want that, Jake. I want to stay here, with you. The simple confession seemed to lift a weight from both of their shoulders. They talked late into the night, making plans and sharing dreams, the echoes of their laughter blending with the soft night sounds around them. As the night deepened, they knew they were no longer just sharing tasks or a home, but a life. As the weeks turned into months, the ranch had become not just Zara's home but her sanctuary, imbued with shared memories and growing affection between her and Jake. This morning, they planned to introduce a new member to their ranch family, a young colt recently acquired from a nearby farm. Jake led Zara to the stable where the colt was adjusting to his new environment. Meet Comet, he said, a proud tone in his voice as he patted the young horse's neck gently. He's beautiful, Jake, Zara remarked, reaching out slowly to let Comet sniff her hand. He seems a bit nervous, though. He is. It'll take some time for him to get used to us and his new home, Jake explained. It's a big change for a young horse. They spent the morning in the stable, Jake showing Zara how to calm and soothe the colt, using soft words and gentle strokes. It's all about trust, he told her, demonstrating the slow, reassuring movements that helped calm the animal. Zara mimicked his actions, her face lighting up as Comet began to relax and nuzzle her hand. There's a lot of trust here, isn't there? She mused aloud, not just speaking of the colt. There is, Jake agreed, looking at Zara with a deep fondness. Trust is what makes a place like this more than just land and animals. It makes it a home. The day was spent familiarizing Comet with his new surroundings. They led him around the various parts of the ranch, introducing him to the other horses and the open fields where he would graze. As the afternoon gave way to evening, Jake and Zara took a walk along the edge of the property, enjoying the peace that had settled over the land. I was thinking, Jake started, his voice a bit hesitant, about what we talked about a few weeks ago. About you staying here, making a life together. Zara nodded, her hand finding Jake's as they walked. I've thought of nothing else, she admitted. I'm ready to start that life, Jake. If you are. I am, Jake confirmed, squeezing her hand. There's something else, though. Something important I want to talk to you about. They stopped, facing each other. Jake took a deep breath, his eyes searching hers. Zara, these past months with you have been the happiest I've been in a long time. I love you, and I want us to think about building a future together, a real, lasting future. Zara's eyes filled with emotion, her voice soft but certain. I love you too, Jake. I can't imagine being anywhere else but here with you. Their conversation drifted to more practical matters as they discussed the logistics of Zara's staying, permanently legal arrangements, her integration into the community, and how they would manage the ranch together. As they outlined their future, the setting sun cast a golden light over the landscape, the fading light a metaphor for one chapter ending and another beginning. Returning to the house, they decided to celebrate the decision with a small dinner. Jake cooked, and Zara set the table, each movement and glance shared between them filled with love and mutual respect. Over dinner, they raised their glasses in a quiet toast. To new beginnings, Jake said, his voice steady and sure. To new beginnings, Zara echoed, her smile radiant. After dinner, they sat on the porch, wrapped in a blanket against the chill of the evening air. They talked about everything and nothing, their dreams for the future mingling with the sounds of the night. As they went to bed, Zara turned to Jake, her expression serious yet full of hope. "Jake, there's something I need to tell you. We're going to have a child." Jake's reaction was one of pure joy mixed with surprise. "Really?" he asked, his voice choked with emotion. "Yes," Zara nodded, her hand resting on her stomach. "A new life, a true blend of our worlds." They embraced, the realization of their new family settling in with peaceful certainty. That night, as they lay together, the future seemed bright with promise, their love the firm foundation on which they would build their lives. Months had passed since Zara's announcement of her pregnancy, and the ranch had never been livelier. With the due date approaching, Jake had thrown himself into preparing everything they would need, ensuring that Zara and the baby would have the utmost comfort. Their anticipation grew with each passing day, blending with a sense of fulfillment and love that enveloped the entire ranch. On a crisp morning, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Zara's labor began. The peaceful quiet of the early hours was soon filled with the sounds of preparation. Jake, ever the calm presence, was by her side, his hand steady as he packed the last of their necessities. "Are you ready for this, Zara?" Jake asked, his voice betraying a hint of his nerves despite his calm demeanor. "As ready as I can ever be," Zara replied with a determined smile, taking deep breaths between contractions. "I'm just glad to be here with you." Jake drove them to the local hospital, a facility small but renowned for its excellent care. The drive was quiet, each lost in their own thoughts about the imminent changes and the new life they were about to welcome. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Dr. Simmons, a friendly face well known to Jake and now to Zara. "Everything's going to be just fine," Dr. Simmons assured them as they settled into the delivery room. The labor was intense, but Zara was strong, her connection with Jake providing her with a continuous source of strength. He was there every step of the way, holding her hand, offering words of encouragement, and watching in awe as Zara navigated the powerful waves of childbirth. As the first cries of their child pierced the air, both Zara and Jake were overwhelmed with emotion. Dr. Simmons gently placed the newborn in Zara's arms, and the couple looked down at the tiny face of their son, a beautiful blend of their two worlds. "He's perfect, Zara. We did it," Jake whispered, tears of joy rolling down his cheeks. "He is," Zara whispered back, her exhaustion giving way to a profound joy. "Welcome to Earth, little one." The news of the birth spread quickly through the town, and soon their hospital room was filled with flowers and cards from friends and neighbors. The community's support was a testament to the deep roots Jake and Zara had laid down together. After a few days, they returned to the ranch, their home now bustling with the new responsibilities and joys of parenthood. Jake took to fatherhood naturally, his love for their son evident in every action, from early morning feedings to late-night lullabies. As they adjusted to their new life, Jake and Zara often took walks with their son, showing him the beauty of the ranch under the vast sky. "He'll grow up with the best of both worlds," Jake said during one of their walks, looking out over the fields bathed in sunset. "Yes, he will," Zara agreed, her voice full of hope and determination. "And we'll teach him about both, about Earth and Viridia." Their evenings were spent on the porch, the baby sleeping peacefully nearby as they planned for the future. They spoke of further expanding the ranch, of visiting Viridia, and of the many adventures they would have as a family. On the night of a rare cosmic alignment, as both Earth's and Viridia's skies were illuminated by an aurora, the small family stood under the celestial spectacle, their faces lit by the ethereal glow. "It's a new chapter for us, Jake, in every possible way," Zara said, her hand in his as they watched the lights dance across the heavens. "It is," Jake agreed, his heart full. "And it's going to be an incredible journey." As they watched the night sky, their son cradled between them, Jake and Zara felt the weight and wonder of their love, a love that had brought together two vastly different worlds, creating a family that transcended the boundaries of space and time. In that moment, under the cosmic ballet of lights, their hearts beat in unison, a symphony of life and love echoing into the eternity.